Good evening, everyone. Thank the Lord we are live now. Apologies about the delay in the action. I couldn't join the lobby. Welcome along to WR, even to EML qualifying night. We are here tonight for season number 8. It's the beginning. It's the qualifying night. You can see the qualifying schedule on your screen. We've got 2 sessions. The first 2 in Austria. The second 2, of course, in Brazil. My name is James Head. I'm going to be taking to the stream, of course, as always, on this fine Wednesday evening. And joining me in the commentary box, he is the Welsh sheep himself. He could be the Welsh goat by the end of tonight. It is Mr. Ivor Bryn. Mike, how you doing?
I am doing fantastic, James. Looking forward to this one. Of course, qualifying. This is where the teams are going to be putting out their best drivers possible to get the best positions possible going into season 8. And what a 2 tracks we have selected for these guys to go ahead and try to set these times around.
Yeah, apologies about everyone, by the way, about the delay. That was my fault, and it was definitely my fault because I was having to restart the PlayStation and everything. At least we are live. At least everything is all fine and dandy, which is always, always good. That's a different graphic. That is the graphic that I do want to show you because these are the teams that are competing here tonight, and these are the drivers that we are waiting on, of course, to go out on track here in Q1. Of course, it is an 18-minute qualifying session. Best times, of course, are counted towards the end. Spreadsheets get an update in the background and everything. This will have it all, the qualifying night. So, for Deluxe Esports team, we have DLX Color Blue in the Red Bull. In the Ferrari, we have the ERS team with Thug by Nature, who managed to get me an invite in. Thank you very much to him. Mercedes have got NLR and that is NLR Yanel in for the Neverlast Racing team. McLaren have got XPG Flame, who is a very decent driver on his day, looking to try and hit the ball rolling for XPG. Aston Martin GT10 have got Quartz. Williams F1 Academy France, I think, or what I'm going to call Formula 1 Academy France, something like that. Anyways, they've got BB Ben there in the Williams. Kicksab, of course, free. We've got Gergo in the Alpine for AMS. RB have got XR8, and that is Kieran Nag, who was a previous engineer and I think manager, if I'm not mistaken, in CRE before they closed down. Toms is for LR even, and then McLaren OVR have got Verti in as well. Hopefully there's no changes to that lineup. Mike, we have got the action going on out on track, about to go for their first runs of the drivers out on track, and it's good to see a little bit of a broadcast boost with my PS5.
Yeah, absolutely. As drivers are about to get their laps in the way, Kieran Nag, the first one across the line to get his lap in the way, followed by Flame, and then we got Grego.
Oh, Kieran gets caught on the outside curb there, coming to the right-hand with turn number 1. Very neatly done, actually, coming out of turn 1. Now up the hill in towards turns 2 and then towards turn 3 at Remus. We'll try and see, of course, what his first sector is like. 16 flats, not that good, to be honest, in the first sector. But then again, most of these drivers and most of these teams, potentially, that you're seeing in Session 1, maybe the ones to look out for potentially in Console Tier 2 moving forward, as Kieran runs down in towards turn number 4 now with Schlossgold, my favourite corner even to pronounce on this game. Now coming to the right hand of turn number 5 and toward the Pirelli curve at turn number 6, right in the outside curve, really get the car aggressively turned in. Don't get the car aggressively turned in like that, though, as Kieran Nag bails on his lap time. Luckily, he had no one around him, but he got caught on that inside curb. Curbs are deadly around this track.
Yeah, you saw what happened there. We just turned in just a little bit too much now onto that inside curb and settles Kieran Nag's car, and unfortunately for him, it's over and done with. Flame invalidated on his lap, so he's not going, and it seems like Gergo is doing 2 out laps in the installation.
Yeah, 108 flat even there from Gurgle. Turble's Tom's there goes quickest for XPG now, and he goes with the 103.5, even not for XPG even, that's a different driver. The Turble's Tom there out on top, Verti there going second for OVR as well. They of course heavily featured as part of Console Tier 2 last season, and the man who I expect to top the session has just gone quickest, and that is NLR Yanel, who was very good around here in Season 7 in Austria in EML, and has previously picked up podiums around here in other leagues as well. Yanel out on top, and Turbo Tom's in second, Verti there in third. NLR were... but they weren't in last season, were they? Or were they in last season and they were further down the field? They were further down the field, yeah. I'm thinking about WR Legacy Division. Didn't qualify.
Yeah,
that's why I'm getting confused.
Yeah, last season what we had was obviously the top 2 running away with ET8 and Team Shazoo. And then we had what's called a battle late into the season between TF10 and NLR, I believe, for third, if I remember correctly.
That is definitely so. I will get up the points and everything from last season, just to remind everyone of what happened in Season 7. I need to remind myself quite clearly. Yanna Lad on top from Tibbles Toms there in second, Bertie there in third. Thug by Nature not preparing for a run just yet. Kieran Nag there in seventh as well. Gurgle, by the way, went on 103.7. So we tried what I like to call them a barrack tactic now and try and go side by side. Oh, Kieran Nag nearly hits the wall coming into the pit lane, giving me a bit of a fright there coming through the final corner into the pit lane. Goodness me, that was very close to the wall. The RB does not want to be doing that once again. F1 Academy France have got BB Ben there out for a run. The Williams now flying it through the final corner on the run toward the line. Will be Vive La France after this? No, 104.1. Good lap time though on the board. Yanel though out on top, Tibbles there in second, and then Bertie in third, as Kieran apologises in the Discord chat for making sure to let everyone by as well. So, not an impediment, it seems, from Kieran, and it's good to see drivers apologising if they have.
Yeah, so we had Fucked by Nature come across the line. It seems he's used all of his ERS, even though he wasn't really pushing on that lap.
I wonder if he made a mistake then in the final sector, maybe, and then, or maybe through the final couple of corners at turn 9, missed the pit lane, and then he has to go around again. That's what I'm thinking.
I didn't see an invalidation from him, so it definitely wasn't an invalidation, and I don't know. I mean, at the beginning of the lap, it didn't look like he was pushing either, to be honest, but Fucked by Nature still out there, maybe struggling a little bit with the setup of the car, perhaps.
Yeah, definitely so. Mason's getting in the chat, where's my invite? Well, you didn't ask for one. Simple as that. 15.9 coming through the right under turn number 3 at Remus with Quartz. He is going to be one of the guys to watch out for the top in the session. Yano, I think, is probably going to top the session for NLR, as I know he's a very good driver in qualifying around this track. Quartz, though, looking to try and prove that Grand Track 10 have got a place potentially in console Tier 1. Of course, the top 2 teams from each tier last season, that's Team Kazoo and ETA, I believe, 1-2 last season in console Tier 1, and then in console Tier 2, it was... oh, remind me, I will have a look at the standings in a second, but Quartz coming up the hill in toward the right-hand turn number 9. He's looking very good and very decent on this lap time. Flings the car through turn number 9. Now through Red Bull Mobile curve at turn number 10. Really, really aggressive cut and curve there on the inside. Goes to the line, goes third. Quartz there, up there with the pace.
Yeah, Quartz up there with the pace. Just quickly getting the standings up. It was
FGE
Esports, Group Esports, and IRT Esports at the top 2.
I thought it was OVR, so it's a good job I didn't say the second team. That's why I was a little bit confused and a bit concerned that I was going to say the wrong thing.
Maybe. I believe it was IRT. What's going on? It's either a typo on the graphic by you,
or I've just got it wrong. It's probably the latter. It's probably the latter. Let's just put it that.
After round 9 goes Brazil, so...
After round 9, yeah, after round 10, they should be posted. I'm not sure why they're not. Yana Low out on top, Tibbles Toms in second, Quartz there in third, Quartz looking to bail back into the pit lane. Verti for OVR is invalidated through the final corner, very wide, coming through the final corner. Cost him all of that time. He lost a tenth of a second at least there, coming through the final corner. Doesn't improve in the McLaren on his lap time. Tibbles Toms purple in the middle sector, according to my screen. Now running up the hill in towards turn number 9. Now down the hill again in towards turn number 10. Yanel on a lap behind him through the middle sector split as well, as Tibbles Toms now comes through the final corner. On the run to the line, tops the session, 103.2. Very good lap time. Yanel, though, the other Mercedes responding in turn. He's 2.5 tenths up through the middle sector. Now coming to the right-hand turn number 10. We'll see what the NLR man can do. Looking to try and prove themselves into space in console T1, and that is definitely enough for Yanel to go to the top end of the standings. 8 minutes gone in the session. Yanel out on top, Tibbles Toms in second. Currently, Mercedes 1-2.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm currently on board with Q and Nag at the moment. Yet to get a lap time on the board, as we got less than 10 minutes remaining in the session. Really needs to get something on the board. He did do a lap just a moment ago. I think it was invalidated, and it was a 3.8. So that would be enough to get him up into P6 currently. But yeah, it's just not looking good for Q and Nag at the moment.
Yeah, not so much for Kieran. At the minute, I think he was obviously in some of the stuff that's been put on social media as well. And I'll actually read this out just while I'm getting this up. On my iPad, Kieran actually mentioned something about, where was it? I'm just having a look through, because there was so many things that were posted, I can't find where we are. For XR8, of course, XR8 recently, formed up as a new team. He put in there in the chat, I think it's the right Kieran, if I'm not mistaken. Since the team just started no assist side, we're looking to get settled, hopefully be fighting in some races, but most importantly, consistently improving. And that's what Kieran will be hoping for, if that is the right Kieran. That's what we'll be definitely hoping for that team in the RB. They're down in 10th position, no lap time on the board. He can find some use, in his words, earlier on, to what he can do out on track in the next 8 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's always interesting, obviously, when new teams now come in, learning no assist and that. It's always interesting to see how they progress over the course of a game cycle, because it really does take a lot of time and effort to really get used to the way that the way the car handles now with no ABS, way it handles no traction control, and of course making sure that you got your braking points and your turning in points like spot on. It takes a lot of time and effort now for these guys to do.
Yeah, it definitely is, and obviously with these drivers obviously transitioning over, you know yourself with Esports Wales and things like that, having a no assist side, going from assist to no assist. It is a real step up, but it is a very worthwhile step up, I've got to be honest as well. Unfortunately, I couldn't do that because I wasn't A, signed for a team, and B, I wasn't really good at the game, to be honest. As BB Ben proves me wrong, certainly with a good lap there with the 103.9. Definitely outgunning what I could have done around this track at any stretch of the imagination. Harvey, by the way, has just invited me for Lobby 2. Thank you very much, Harvey. Yana Lad on top. Tubbles Tom's there in second. Gurgle there currently in third position, as I think Quartz and Bertie are on that. Quartz through the middle sector split is 2.3 seconds down. He was 400s up before that.
Yeah, I just jumped on board with him as he was into the break-in towards turn 4. He just locked up, went too wide and went onto the gravel off track. So it looks like he's about to go again, though. So Quartz with a bit of time to find out there.
And Bertie's made a mistake as well, I think through turn number 1, and that's why he's now down on his lap time. He definitely will be down on his lap time. They're down in 5th position at this moment in time. BB Ben obviously done on lap time. Callow Blue for Deluxe Esports. Deluxe Esports were really, really consistent at one part of the season, last season in Console Tier 1, in Console Tier 2 even, but they really came alive and really started to score, albeit bottom-end points, but they were beginning to get very consistent towards the end of the season. Hopefully that'll be the case here with this lap time. Calabru, the Spaniard, now on the run toward the line. Doesn't improve in the end, 500 standard lap time, but he is setting consistent lap time, which is good. Kieran Nag, though, in the middle sector, 44.3. Not sure how that is in reference to Yanel and Tobel's Tom's times out on the top, but Kieran definitely looking good now coming through the final couple of corners, and he'd be looking to try and improve the course for his team, for XR8 on the run to the line, goes 6, 103.8. At least for him, it's a lap time on the board.
Yeah, it's a lap time there, and he'll be happy that he's finally got that lap time on the board. I'm on board with Quartz right now, over a 10th up in the middle sector, but an invalidation coming through the final corner, and he would have improved to a 3.4, so he would have jumped himself a bit ahead of Gergo, but unfortunately, just ran a little bit too deep on the final corner.
Yeah, unfortunately so. As Yanel out on top, Tebbles Tom second, Gurgle there in third. See, actually, if Yanel is on a lap time. No, he's preparing for one right now. Gurgle, however, is on a lap time, and he's 500 up through the first sector, so it'll be interesting to see how the AMS driver can do. AMS, of course, featured as part of Console Tier 2 last season once again, or Console 2, as I'm obliged to say now these days, as Gurgle now comes in toward the right-hand return number 8, then in towards turns 9 and 10. This is looking like a consistent lap, at least, from the AMS man. Bertie there goes third. He was down on the run, coming through the first sector. Gurgle flinging that car. That rear end is hooked up very neatly indeed. On the run to the line, goes third. He did improve on his lap time, didn't improve his position. 700th improvement though, and is now ahead of Bertie by, what is that, 9,000ths of a second between the two?
Yeah, incredibly close, and that is one thing that this track does promote, very close lap times. So every 1,000th of a second, every 10th of a second, every 100th of a second really does count around the track like this.
It definitely does. Yanel, my ooh there in the background was for him actually being down through the middle sector. I thought it was up, and then I saw the plus right next to his name, and I knew it immediately it was down for Yanel. So that is Yanel back into the pit lane. Has he done enough to obviously qualify for NLR and put them in a very good stead for session 3? Probably yes. He's currently top in the session at this moment in time. Toms doubles purple in the middle sector. 7,000's down on the run to the line. Does improve 500ths of a second. So that is now him narrowing the gap to just about 700ths of a second. Janel though out on top. Toms there in second. Currently from Gurgle there in third. So realistically, Mike, let's just put it this way. It's NLR from LR currently.
Yep, and try saying that 5 times fast.
NLR, LR, NLR, LR, NLR, LR. Yeah, I've messed up on the go there. Terrible.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is what we like to see right there. That is a good attempt from yourself there, James. Fantastic.
It's commitment. I can talk very quick, so I can probably do it 5 times over, but I dare not make a mockery of myself. I had 41 people here that are tuning in for the live stream with 3 minutes to go in the session. Janel out on top, Toms there in second, Gurgle there in third. Very good lap times being set by everyone, and actually, looking at the top 5 are covered by 4/10 of a second. People will be saying in the chat, oh, well, there's only 10 drivers in the session. You can't really realistically set up in terms of their pace on one another. Yes, you probably can, because Janel Toms looking pretty quick, round about the same pace it seems around this track. You've got Quartz, who featured heavily as part of GT10 last season for Console Tier 1. Verti there for Tier 2 as well. Gurgle there was part of AMS last season. So there are differences and very much similarities, I think, actually, between them all. As BB Ben, I think, is just about as starting his lap time for the Formula 1 Academy.
Yeah, coming through turn number 1 there. Nice and smooth there from BB Ben. And we're going to see what the Sector 1 time is going to say. Obviously, in terms of the laps that we've seen so far, we've seen a lot more aggression taken through turn 1 than what we've seen from Ben here, but he is up on his time, so who knows, he might be able to get himself ahead of QNAG. Good middle sector, he might be in the mix with Quartz and Verti.
Definitely so. Baby Ben now coming down the hill through Schlossgold at turn number 4. Also starting up in his lap time as Quartz. He's about to come through the first sector split and is actually invalidated through turn 1. So that is a great start to the GG10. Slide there from BB Ben. Loses them all the time. If I was him, I'd back off. He's got very low fuel, so he can't actually go again here. BB Ben has got to get this run in, no matter if it's down, no matter if it's a 1,000th improvement. He's got to find something from somewhere. No, he bails into the pit lane. That is it. He's not going to be out in time, but for absolute sure, that's Formula 1 Academy France's chance. Gone astray, I think, there with that slight slide coming out of turn 6.
Yeah, and Gurgo not improving in the first sector. Janel invalidated on his run. Verti in the first sector, around about 400 of a second up on his time. Quartz invalidated. Q and Nag middle sector split. It showed purple on my end, but I'm not sure if that's purple for the entire session or whether it's just for him. But coming to the penultimate corner now, Q and Nag. Very cautious, I'd say, there through the penultimate corner.
He's there or thereabouts, though, I think, on the run to the line. 103.6. He did improve on the final sector in the end, but I think his first sector probably let him down, coming out of turn 1 up the hill in towards turns 2 and 3. Verti was improving as well. 900s up in the middle sector. Now coming to the right-hander at turn number 10. Flings it too far wide. Again, he does that for the second time in the session. Runs wide. It would have been an improvement, and it would have been ahead of Gurgo, who was invalidated, and then this is next lap invalidation, so he won't get another run in. Janel won't get another run in either, because he's done exactly the same thing. It seems like everyone's just giving up, I think, at this stage in qualifying at this moment in time. Calablu was also done on this and then next lap invalidation. Quartz, however, isn't. He's a 44 flat in the middle sector. He's got to go some to even catch Verti and Gurgo, I think. I'm going to put my nail on the line here, and my head on the line, quite literally, and say this is going to be third. I think it's going to be good enough for third as Quartz now through the final corner, on the run to the line. Good job. I didn't put my nail to the mast there, because he's only 5th, but he is 1100th of a second off third.
Yeah, and only 2,000ths of a second off Verti as well. So, good improvement there from Quartz at the end, and I think that is the first of the sessions over and done with. Janel topping the times here.
It might not be, because Toms was down in the first sector. His middle sector split, he is 10th down again. But if he can find a special final sector, and I mean he's got to find a special final sector, because he's got to find, what, 2/10 of a second here? He is going to finish his run. Now coming to the right-hand of turn number turn number 9, in toward the Red Bull Mobile Curve at turn number 10. On the run toward the line with Turbo Toms. Does he improve ahead of Janel? No, a 10th and a half up, but he did remain consistent in terms of that lap time. It's Janel out on top. Turbo Toms there in second. Gurgle there in third. So pretty much the front three stayed exactly where they are for at least a good third of that session.
Yeah, and I think that just came down to just getting a little bit hot in the brakes now for a lot of these guys. Just taking a little bit too much of the exit curve on the exit of the final corner and through turn 1, of course. Just a fair few invalidations for these guys, and maybe it's, Christmas period and that they've just come back now from the Christmas break, and they're getting back into the swing of things.
They are getting back into the swing of things, and do you know what? Thank God we're getting back into the swing of things, because the last 2 nights have been pretty hellish in terms of the racetrack. At least we've only got a qualifying night here tonight. Let's just put it that way. They've got 2 weeks to find themselves once again before we go live for season number 8. Janelad on top of NLR, from Turbo Tom's there in second, Gogol there in third, Bertie in fourth, the Courts there in fifth, Kieran Nag there in sixth. A little bit disappointing from what he said earlier on, but a little bit disappointing for XL8. They are a brand new team coming in on no assists, of course. BB Ben there, even in 7th Formula 1 Academy. Calibri there in 8th with Flame there in 9th, and then Thug by Nature rounding off the top 10. Janel top in the session. Turbo Tom's there in second. Let's digest that somewhat while we try and get the invites and everything out for Lobby 2. That was a really good session, and the man who I exactly thought would be up there, Mike, Janel, topped the session.
Yeah, Janel, of course, a very safe person to put your money on to be up there towards the top end. Of course, Neverlast Racing have been a fantastic team, and season's gone by here in Esports Masters League, and they're looking to take steps a little bit further up the order. Of course, finishing third, I think it was last season, and then of course, I believe the season before they also finished third. So they want to try to break that top 2 lock that Shizu and ETA have had in the Esports Masters League.
Definitely so. Apologies, by the way, if you've just seen me changing graphics about 10 times over, because the wrong one 3 times there. So apologies about that. You've got the session 2 grid there on your screens right now. I will go through and talk that through in a second. I've just bloody closed the game down instead of coming out of the session. What an absolute burk I am. But while we save my graces for doing a hootie, let's just say, let's have a look through at who's going to be driving for session 2 here. And as I say, this is mostly up to date. We have got some pretty decent names within the session. Inwa, for example, for VMV, part of the Esports Challenge Cup event that happened, of course, in December. Leonardo there for CPI, Simbarox there for FRT. It's a very strong session, I think, there. Add into that the mix of Gabza and even Peck, who are brand new, Pedro Breton representing them. It's an all-rounder sort of session 2, I think, here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Of course, after seeing the times that we've already had from Lobby 1, it's going to be interesting to compare now with these guys in Lobby 2 and just see where everyone stacks up.
It will be interesting to see where everyone stacks up indeed. While we get sorted and while I try and fix my issue that I had on PS4 by closing everything down, we're going to be getting you into the session very soon indeed. All of them invites, by the way, are now finally coming through on my end, so I don't know what the problem was, but we're going to go into an intermission break. We'll be back with you in a couple of minutes. Close. Welcome back, everyone, to EML for qualifying night. It is Austria still. It is session number 2. We are going to get live straight into the action. But a reminder of, if you just tuned into the session, of what happened, of course, in session 1. NLR top in the session, LR following on in behind, Yanel top in the session there for NLR in session 1. Session 2, we're about to get underway, Mike. We have got some big names in here. Simberbox for FRT, Leonardo for CPI, EVE have got Triske there in as well, along with Inwar for VMB, Pedro Beton for PEC. Those are the leading names that I would expect would be Console 1 representatives potentially by the end of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, QSL as well, another one to keep an eye on as well. Gabza, I mean, it was a tough season for QSL last season, but maybe over the course of the winter break and that, they've been able to improve and continue with their development as a team.
Definitely so, and obviously Inwar was he top 5 at Silverstone? If off the back of my mind, I believe he was. It might have been the race that what was I there for? I don't know. It's been a long year. It's been a long time since we were live. I can't remember, but we are going to get going very soon indeed. In fact, actually, you can see now on your screen, right at the bottom end of the pit lane, drivers beginning to leave the pit lane, and the McLaren is going to be first, and I believe that is going to be CPI's Leonardo leaving the pit lane first for the CPI team. They were very much up there in terms of the Vanguard in EML last season. They were up in the Vanguard and Legacy division so far this season as well, currently in the top 4 there. They have got a very, very good squad. CPI should be leading candidates, and Leonardo should be a leading candidate here to actually top the session.
Yeah, absolutely. CPI, they're almost part of the furniture here in Esports Masters League, CPI. So, and with that also being, they have been a staple in the top tier in EML as well for many seasons. So you would back them to again get themselves into the top tier here in EML. And Leonardo, a very capable driver who, fingers crossed for CPI, has what it takes to put him up into a good position going into the next lobby.
Yeah, you'd like to imagine so, certainly, I think, from his perspective. Former EVE man, or ex-EVE man, now part of CPI, about to get us underway on the run there, down in towards turn number 1, on the run up the hill even, in toward the Lauda corner at turn number 1, named, of course, after Austria's famous son, Niki Lauda, coming through the right-hand of turn number 1 there. Now up the hill in towards the MotoGP layout on the right-hand side there, now coming in towards turn number 3. Ari missing a 15.9, already better than the first lap that we saw in session 1. He's got a 103.140 to beat in terms of Yanel's lap time. Kerbal Tom's there in second was a 103.2, and there was a 103.393 there in third for Gergo for AMS. So those are the lap times to beat. Potentially, those are the targets to aim at. Leonardo has got a target on his back, now coming in towards turn number 6 of Pirelli Curve, and he's looking very, very hunkered down on this lap. 43.9 in the middle sector, has a bit of a slide there, coming out of turn number 7, now through the birth curve at turn number 8, in towards now the right-hander of turn number 9, taking as very thin line as possible as he comes now flying through the right-hander of 9, in toward the right-hander of turn number 10, doesn't want to invalidate, didn't invalidate, has lost time on the run to the line. Leonardo, 103.3. Put it that way, if he can represent that lap time 4 times over, Yanel's lap time is getting beat here.
Yeah, and that's a very, very good opening lap there from Leonardo. Inwar, they up in the P2 with a 3.8. And you're seeing the gulf right there between Leonardo and the rest of the field right now. Trix goes up in the P2. Enzo invalidated his lap, but he was on a 4.3, so not the best enough for him. He's got the planes watching invalidated on his run as well, so he's going to have to do another lap here.
Definitely so. Simberbox is definitely going to have to do another run. 25.9 was his best. He was 200 up in the first sector. Backed off coming through the middle. Backed off coming through the final sector. So Simberbox will definitely be looking to try and improve now on his run, running down the hill and towards turn number 4. As I say, taking the TTM Mubarak sort of approach from Brazil last night in WR Legacy Division. Now coming through the right-hander at turn number 4. Now through the right-hander at turn number 5. In towards then the left-hander of Pirelli Curve at turn number 6. This has looked a very assured lap some prize. A little bit wide of the curve there, Simracing. 44.1 in the middle sector. Huge improvement coming in. About as big as improvement as I would see around this track, to be honest. I've got to, from the FRT man's perspective, now coming up the hill in towards turn number 9, then through the right-hand at turn number 10. Again, that car just looking like it's going to snap out on you, and it's definitely nearly snapped out on him coming through turn number 10. Very unstable setup, 103.601. If he can make a couple of adjustments to a setup and a couple of changes, that could be a really, really strong lap time. It just looks like the rear end is starting to kick out midway through the corners. Nearly lost it coming out of turn number 10. Did very well to recover it. I think with those little rear end mistakes that he made, he lost a good 2/10 there, at least.
Yeah, I mean, Simracing will be looking at that, knowing that there's time there to be gained, knowing that he can definitely improve on that, obviously help out with FRT's qualifying position. And honestly, I'm going to ask you a question here, James. I mean, we mentioned about setups and everything so far. Now, I don't believe that these guys would be rocking these setups if it was full race conditions. But when it comes to just qualifying, do you go for a setup that might be unstable but just lightning quick, or do you go for one that has a bit of stability to it, but maybe a bit slower?
I'd be honest, if I was the drivers here, because there's no pressure in terms of the race happening after this, I would go pure time trial setup, and I would just literally absolutely floor it on a time trial setup, just to try and get about as many improvements as you can out of the car and out of the track. And I think that's what drivers are leaning to. Leonardo, for example, 103.3. Simracings's lap time, 103.6. He might have an Austria setup, it might be his time trial setup, I don't know. But if I was a driver certainly out there, I'd be prioritising time trial and wings rather than actual and downforce rather than actual speed coming through the corners and in towards the and up towards the straight. So if I was the drivers anyways out on track, I'd take the time trial setup over anything else. But time trial setups on this game are different to the ones in Grand Prix mode, are the ones different to online as well. So it's just the question of whether I'm talking absolute BS or if I'm actually getting my facts right for once.
I mean, if it was me, obviously I'd be trying to run the quickest setup possible, even if it was going to be very unstable on the rear, which, I mean, there's been many times I've had many different setups in the past that have been very unstable on the rear, as I have spun on countless occasions, especially on a track like this. So I'd 100% be going for the quickest setup possible.
I would definitely go for the quickest setup possible as well. It's a good job we're in the commentary box now and giving you our insight and analysis from the commentary hub, rather than being out there on track and then making a mocky out of ourselves, as Mike has done on many occasions here in TML and indeed in EML. Coming up the hill with Gabsa in towards the right-hand turn number 9, QSL looking to qualify for Console 1 for the first time. Their second season competing, certainly, than EML, and a 103.7. Good lap time on the board, only a 1/10 of a second off Simracing, so not a bad lap time there at all on the board. Leonardo's going to go again, it seemed, on his run. Triscay, however, for EVE is on a run. One of the newest drivers, I believe, and one of the recent signings for EVE within the lineup. First time here in EML. Now coming up the hill and towards turn number 9, the Red Bull looking to try and improve, at least on Simracings's time. Looking to try and get close to Leonardo as well. Very good through the final corner on the run to the line. He does get close to Leonardo. He's only a 10th off.
Yeah, and we just saw Imwa improve as well, get back ahead of Gabza. So Imwa back up in the P4 as Trixie up in the P2.
Trixie, yeah, Trixie instead, yeah, indeed, even up into P2. Pedro Breton is just starting up on his lap. Exotic Plains, I believe, is on a run for EVR. He's a 15.9 in the first sector. EVR, of course, featured heavily as part of Console 2 last season and did very well, I've got to say, within the standings. They were consistent in numerous races. They had the famous Schumacher making an appearance as well on Born's race last season in Console 2. We all know who he is, of course, in the sim racing world. Now coming up the hill in towards turn 9 with Exotic Plains. One of their quickest drivers, actually, around this track. So if you're looking to try and get a good lap time on the board, again, like Simracing, just that rear end beginning to kick out on the run to the line. Proves that. Goes 5th, 103.7. Again, improvements to be found, but they're good improvements to be found, as Simracing is not even improving.
Yeah, I was just on board with Simracing. He was marginally up in the middle sector, but unfortunately, coming through turn 7 and 8, his back end just stepped out on him again, and that cost him all the time, and he's backed out of his lap immediately.
Pedro Breton there going to the line for Esports Peck as well. They're in 7th, 103.841. So good, a decent lap time on the board. Either spin like they're being mentioned in the chat. I shall remain nameless as to who was put that comment. It's not me either. Leonardo out on top, Trisky in 2nd, Simbarox there in 3rd. NLR Ryan absolutely on it in terms of the invites as well. Thank you very much to NLR Ryan for inviting me. I will make sure to not close the game down this time around and actually join that invite straight away. But Leonardo out on top, Trisky there in 2nd, Simbarox in 3rd. Currently, that is, 700th of a second covering the top 2. Harvey looks like he's doing his own commentary there on the bottom left-hand side of your screen because his mic is coming through. You might be able to hear it, hopefully not in the background. But if he is, he's been able to take pallets.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's down in the pit lane right now. Over to you, Ted.
Oh, yeah. I like that. I like that. No, he probably can't hear us, and if he has, he's probably just turned off his mic, and he probably has just realised that, to be fair. Leonardo, though, out on top. Trisky in 2nd. Simbarox there in 3rd. 8 minutes ago, currently in the session. 45 minutes gone as well, just over in terms of the live stream. Hope you are all enjoying qualifying night so far. Let us know who you're supporting. Let me know who you think is going to top the session, and who you think the underdog team might be. And I am going to come on to this point now because I was thinking Esports Peck were going to be an underdog team. They've got a very, very good amount of good drivers. Pedro Breton currently not proving that at this stage, not proving my theory right with the 103.8, but can improve, of course, on his final runs in this session. Esports Peck, from my perspective, as Leonardo's about to go on his run, Esports Peck were, I think, one of the favourites potentially to be console Tier 1 contenders. At this stage, 7th position, Pedro Breton, he's going to have to do a lot more to just try and even secure a position, potentially, in Con 1.
Yeah, right now, I believe potentially he's on the bubble in terms of one of the lower down lap times. That's just on bubble end, so they're getting all out of shape through turn number 1. And that is not what he needs. I mean, he's currently on a 4.1 Enzo, and definitely needs to get himself in the freeze if he wants any vote here.
Yeah, 7/10 down in the first sector from Enzo. Inmore is through the first sector split. Didn't catch that through the first sector. 15.9 though from Leonardo. He's the first on the run. And it's a 43.9 and a slight improvement in the middle sector. Flings the car now through turn 7 and 8. Gets actually nearly caught on the curb. Right in that middle ground on the curb. Coming through the right-hand turn number 8. I've seen drivers actually lose that because of catching it on the curb. Now through the right-hand 9 and 10. Leonardo very much out wide. That's an invalidation, unfortunately for him. It would have been a 103.2, would have been an improvement. He just went a fraction too wide out of the final corner. Unfortunate for him, he's invalidated, but it would have been an improvement. And now, the question is, as Trisky is up on a lap time, Inmore is up on a lap time as well. 2/10 up, coming now through the final corner on the run to the line. The question now is for Leonardo, can he remain there in P1? Trisky not improving. Simbarox is up though, 44 flat, purple out of everyone in the middle sector.
Yeah, we just saw how cautious he was taking through turn 7, and the back end wanted to step out on him. It was drifting wide, but he managed to keep it in line this time around as he comes through the final corner. Little snap at the rear, but see what Simbarox can do. It's a 2/10 improvement, but it's P3.
It is P3 in the end, but look at how close the top 4 are at this stage. You can throw a blanket, quite literally, over the front 4 at this stage, and then it's a 3/10 gap. Exotic Planes for EVR. Gabs are there, he's 500 down in the first sector there in QSL. Pedro Breton, who's invalidated on his run for Esports Peck there in 7th, and there Enzo on a 104.170 right down at the back end of the field. Gabsa is up in the middle sector, looking to try and improve the French outfit, of course, or the Frenchman even, for the French outfit for QSL. Now running down the hill in towards the right-hand return number 9, now through the right-hand return number 10. Gabsa has proved to be a good qualifier in the past in EML last season. Proves that again, 2.5 improvement, puts himself now a 10.5 away from P1, which is Leonardo. Very, very good news if you're a Team QSL fan right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, these guys are fighting to have the best spot possible to try and get themselves into console 1. And with the times being so close, because I just want to point out as well, like the top 5 in lobby 1 as well, Quartz got fifth in lobby one, and that was 1 minute 3.404. So that gives you an idea of how close it is between 10 different teams right now.
And Yanel, just to put it into perspective, was a 103.140. Turbo's Tom second, 103.217. At this moment in time, Leonardo Inwa, CPI and VMB are currently third and fourth as it stands on their lap times. A 103.334, a 103. Is it like a 3.5? Yeah, 3.57. I had to double check that. I thought it was a 3.37. It's a 3.57 for Inwa. They're in second. Simberbox there in third. Trisky there in fourth. They filter in amongst that. And as you mentioned there, Simberbox Trisky currently on their lap times with, Quartz and Bertie there in the last session. There is 7 thousandths of a second covering 4 drivers right now and 4 teams right now.
Yep, and with, of course, two spots already, I believe 4 spots already gone in console 1, if I'm correct in saying. I believe both...
2 in con 1, 2 in con 2.
Okay, right, yeah. So the 2 in con 1 already taken. 4 teams already ahead of them, if you include NLR, the top 2 in both sessions so far. You already there are looking at 8 teams battling for 4 spots on that by you right now?
Yeah, and it's going to be so close. Enzo trying to throw his hat into the ring as well for FRC. He's down in the middle sector, but he can improve on his final run. He's only got 10% of battery left, though, on this run. Now coming to the right-hander, turn number 9, then through the right-hander, turn number 10. Once again, that's a much neater final corner, actually, from Enzo. On the run to the line, should find improvement. Does 700ths of a second, brings him closer to Pedro Breton. Esports Peck currently they're down in 7th as it stands in the session. We'll be looking to try and get another improvement on the board. Leonardo, though, currently top of the session. Inmore second, Simberbox in third. 200ths of a second covering the top 2. You've got 700ths of a second covering the top 4 at the stand. And at the minute, in terms of the spreadsheet and everything that's going on, and just from my maths, I believe, currently, as it stands, we've got the top 7 teams covered by about 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, incredibly close between all these teams so far. And I'm curious to see if we're going to see a time that's going to be able to match Janel's time from Lobby 1. Leonardo's just getting underway on his potential final run here. And we're going to see what he can do as he comes up the hill towards the first sector split.
Yeah, let's run on board with him. Towards turn 2, through the right-hander, turn number 3 at Remus, 15.9, 7,000ths of a second down again. Really consistent through that first sector, but it's the middle sector and the final sector that make a lap time around here in Austria and make a driver from good to great. And that's what Leonardo will be looking to try and do here, just to try and pull away somewhat that advantage from Inwar at the 2300ths of a second gap that he's got over Inwar at this stage. Needs to try and find more. He's very wide coming out of turn number 6, and that might have cost him 400ths down in the middle sector. If I was him, I'd bail this lap time, because honestly, I don't think he's going to improve on this run. Might be corrected if I'm wrong if he's such a blistering final sector, but Leonardo has looked pretty shoddy coming through turn 6. That might have cost him in terms of the run. Beautiful out of turn number 10, though, not invalid there. On the run to the line, doesn't improve, and my theory of him bidding off that lap time proved to be right in the end.
Yeah, I don't think Leonardo had the fuel though to go for another run. And
no.
In terms of the ERS, he wouldn't have been able to save enough battery to really have it as competitive as he would have liked. But Simberbox coming for the final corner, Imwa coming for the final corner to get their laps underway, and these two potentially could be getting themselves ahead of Leonardo here.
Definitely so. Trisky through the final corner as well for EVE, trying to get his lap time on the board. He was improving, and he doesn't improve, but he was purple in both the middle and the final sectors on his own lap time, so that was very good from his perspective. Simberbox's first sector, 5,000th down. Inwar slightly down in the first sector as well. Who else is coming through the final couple of corners? Gabser is, the QSL man. Now coming through the final couple of corners in the Alpine. On the run toward the line. Does he improve? No, he doesn't. 500th down on his lap time. Exotic Plains is improving. Pedro Breton has done enough, I think invalidated on his final run. 103.841 is good enough for him. Exotic Plains now through the final corner for EVR. On the run toward the line, the Evolution Racing Team come, and he does improve. Big final sector there, 10th and a half improvement. finds the time, gets him in the mix potentially for a cute Q1 position. Inwar's invalidated. Simbarox now coming to the corners. He is the final man, currently on a run. FRT really needs this, I think, from Simbarox's perspective. On the run to the line comes the FRT man, goes top, 103.179, puts him right up there with NLR, puts FRT right up there with NLR, and they continue their fight from last season. It is Simbarox top in the session, Leonardo in second, Inwar over there in third, and even with CPI and VMV in behind, catch me if you can, Simbarox cries.
Yeah, Simbarox here with a fantastic lap time. Not quite enough to beat Yano's lap time from the first lobby, but a very great lap time from Simbarox, and the team are definitely going to be very happy with that going into the next lobby. Honestly, I'm looking at it right now. I think the top, well, from Yano in both sessions now. So I believe 4 attempts separates 5 and then 11 teams. 4 attempts, 11 teams.
There is a spreadsheet getting done. I'm sure we'll get access to it if we haven't already. But yeah, Simbarox out on top, and as you say, top 11 teams covered by 4 tenths per second is absolutely mad. Simbarox leads the way. In the session, from session 2, we go to Brazil for session 3 very soon. Leonardo there in second for CPI, VMB there in third, Inwar, Trisky there in fourth for EVE, with QSL's Gabsa there in fifth, Exotic Flames for EVR there in sixth, Pedro Breton for Esports Peck there in seventh, and then FRC's Enzo there in 8th position in the Mercedes. 9 tenths covering the top 8. Not bad in that session, given how we only had 8 drivers. Indeed, it was a very, very good lap time, and in the end, very, very strong running there from the man of Simbarox. He took the session. I was going to say Leonardo there, but he didn't.
With Leonardo, once he got that first lap time in, he just, no lap after that really threatened his lap, unfortunately, and it just wasn't meant to be there for Leonardo. Sorry.
It wasn't meant to be for Leonardo, indeed. We see the transition now to session 3 coming very soon indeed. Gives me the chance to actually quit to main menu this time and not quit the whole game like I did last time. But we can have a look through at who is going to be running in session number 3. And I believe there has been potentially a change here. Yes, there has. AMS Devil is out for the AMS team, as well as ATX James in for Neon. So XPG on that graphic, Neon Nullpool is out. That is ATX James in for Neon Nullpool, which I think is a shame because Neon Nullpool was a very good driver, and I was thinking that he could potentially be up there for XPG. And AMS Knight is in for AMS Devil. So Devil got rid, probably going to hell. Knight coming in, possibly going to be the saviour.
Yeah, but we're gonna see if Knight can be the saviour for him.
Definitely so. I have not got an invite again. Don't say this is gonna happen. Oh, the joys. Anyways,
I'm gonna try to get you one.
Yeah, just while we try and work out the invites situation again, I'm gonna take you to an intermission break. We'll be back with you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to EML. We are here tonight for qualifying night for season number 8 of the Esports Masters League. It is now time for Samba de Janeiro. Sadly, don't have the rights to the music. I wish I could play it right now. We are here in Brazil. It is Carnival season. We are here for for session number 3. Even you can see the drivers on your screen right now. There's a couple of changes. ATX replacing Neon Lawpole with ATX James, as I mentioned earlier on, and AMS Knight is apparently in for Devil, even though he's not in the session as it stands. So, as it stands, looking at the session there, Mike, we've got the likes of Acid in, we've got the likes of Ryan in, we've got the likes potentially of XR8 Dylan in, who I know is quite quick. There realistically should be one German towards the top end of the field, and it should be Ryan. But I have a feeling somebody's going to shock us in the session.
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at the names that we have here at the moment, if you're putting your money on anyone to be top in the times, you would think it'd be Ryan in this lobby. But there are some very good names here that can definitely get in the mix now with Ryan, especially if Ryan has a bit of an off day, which he has had off days in the past. I think there was a Brazilian Grand Prix before where he had a massive off day. I think a few seasons ago, actually, in EML, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm just going to sort out something very quickly indeed. They're in the Alpine, aren't they? Yeah. Sorry, I'm just having a look at the grid graphic because I think Knight is going to be running in session number 4. So I'm very happy with him running in session 4. As long as there's no 2 Alpine spaces, we are all good with that. And at least it gives him a chance to fix whatever issue it is. Gives him a good 20 minutes, and then he'll hopefully be fine in 20 minutes' time to join session 4.
Yep, and about to get session 3 underway is Ryan as he climbs up the hill now to begin his first flying lap of the session, opening up DRS as he runs down now in towards turn number 1. Of course, the infamous Senna S's, and I see if Ryan's going to be absolutely nailing this first lap, and nice, but smooth as you like.
Yeah, really nice. Coming through turn 2, now down the Retro Poster, in towards the Cedar Logo at turn number 4. We'll see what Ryan can do in the first second. 17.2, bang on where you want to be, I think, the first lap around here. Now coming to the left-hander 4 at the Cedar Logo. Now coming in towards turn number 5. Then through the right-hander now, turn number 6 of Ferradura. 2009, of course, famously had that collision between Truly, Glock and PK, and Alonso involved in that as well. Coming now down through turn number 8 into the left-hander now of turn number 9, then through in towards my favourite translator corner ever in English, Duckbill Corner at turn number 10 at Pico de Pato. Now coming through the left-hander of 11 and Magulio. He is really on the limit, Ryan, on this lap. 50.7 in the middle sector is above average, actually, for a first run. My favourite German now coming up the hill in towards turn 13 at Sabina dos Boxes. I'm sure he'll love that comment later on when he watches it back. Now coming through in towards the final corner at turn 15 on the run slam for NLR Ryan. And he does go quicker with a 106.804. That is a stonking lap to set off the times.
Yeah, and Dylan immediately in behind it, about a 10.5 off.
Acid 107 flat as well, coming in there. The Grandada is on the lap time right now with Shadow. Angelo is going to be next up on the run line on the McLaren. Does he improve? Yes, he does. 111.5. Definitely needs to find a lap time on the board. Myth Shadow there going fourth as well. Very good lap time on the board. The Grandada, only one Grandada here in the commentary box, and that is me, now coming down the hill towards turn 14 and 15. Had to get that one in for the Formula 1 Academy French team. Goes fourth, though. In all seriousness, has a pretty good lap time. 3 tenths per second off Ryan, or nearly 4 tenths per second off Ryan. The Formula 1 Academy France had a decent-ish session in session 1. They need a big lap time there in session 3. Could come in the shape of Grandadaba.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, some of the teams now from session 1 and session 2, they're going to be looking at this particular session as well as session 4 as their big opportunities. Of course, in Austria, times are relatively close, so this is a kind of track where you can get a little bit of a gap between some drivers and acts. It's very tricky to absolutely nail a lap around here at Brazil.
It definitely is. Spicer there in the chat saying, off day again, right? I believe he was watching WR Lakes Division last night. It is not an off day, I'm just being purely and utterly mad like I normally am in commentary. The LT Ass coming now down. That is his name that I'm going to pronounce absolutely and butcher. Now running down in towards turn number 1, he actually sets the lap time with the 107.229. But the LT goes there into 6th position. I'm not gonna say the other bit again because I'll probably get wrong. Ryan out on top, Dylan in 2nd, Angela there in 3rd. Alberto's gonna go again, it seems, on the run for Dux Esports. He's there in 9th position with an invalid lap time on the board. James also having an invalid lap time on the board. It'll be very good to see my Irish namesake getting a time on the board because he is representing the Jameses there out on track right now.
Yep, representing the Jameses, and he's invalidated, so... Do you invalidate many laps?
me and him are exactly alike then, because I absolutely butcher lap times around here.
It's okay, at least you never spun off podiums and I hear.
No, actually, did I win around this track in League of Europe? I'm just going to put a claim to fame. I think I did.
Your commentator cursed me as well, aren't you?
I did commentate his curse you. But Alberto, all being serious now, I was going to say the Scotsman there, because he's running the Scottish flag in the session. The Spaniard now coming into all the left-hander of turn number 12 at John South, 51.3 in the middle sector. Looking through the chat, Jav saying, can confirm you did, James, somehow. Yes, I know. Alberto now coming in toward the left-hander of 15. On the run toward the line then comes the Spaniard. Does he improve? Yes, he does. 107.3. Obviously, Deluxe Esports will be looking to try and secure themselves a place in Console 2. That is the good way to do about it, because he's only 2/10 off the back of Grandada, only a 10th and a half off the back of the LT as well. He's going to have to set a good lap time on the board to get even close, but that's a good start.
Yep, a good start. We got the initial bankers in now as James is about to get his lap in the way. I believe up ahead of him though is Acid and Ryan. So I'll go on board with Ryan and see if Ryan can improve.
Yeah, my favourite German now coming to the left-hand of turn number 3, running now down the hill into the left-hand of turn number 4 at the seat of the Largo. We'll see what his first sector split is like. He got caught in the inside curve, and it's cost him time in that first sector. Wasn't as neat and tidy as what it was first time around. Nice run out of the curve of turn number 4. Now through the left-hand of 5, running up the hill now in towards turn number 6. As you mentioned that, James on a lap time, as well as one of the Red Bulls as well. I think that's Alberto just on a back down lap at the minute. And one of the RBs looks like he's sent up on the lap after Dylan there in 2nd position. But Ryan now coming through. He's a good 2/10 clear of Dylan. As it stands right now out on track. NLR Ryan though, I'm expecting nothing less than a 106.6. No pressure from Ryan. He's 2010 in the middle sector. Purple in that middle sector. He got cost time in that first sector, remember, with that slight mistake. Now coming through Sabido Dos Boxes at 10:13. It's now looking like another really good consistent lap time here from Ryan. Will not be surprised if it's actually level. He does improve. 106.771. Whether or not Ryan has got the class to try and improve another 10th of a second and go for my 106.6 target is a different thing, though.
Well, we have to wait and see. Dylan is also improving, around about 600 of a second up on his lap time.
Oh, yeah.
Goes by over a 10th. Well, I mean, he's keeping Ryan very honest right now, is Dylan.
He is keeping him very honest indeed. Grandada's looking to try and keep Acid and Angelo honest as well in terms of his lap time. He's about to run to the line. He's improving on the run to the line as well. And Williams, 700th improvement, gets himself in the ballpark with Angelo and Acid. Angelo has just started on a run. Acid is on another run, I think. 17.2 now coming to the left-hand of turn at number 9. We will see what the GT10 man can do running in towards turn number 10, where last night, I actually did Brazil commentary around here last night in WR Legacy Division. You get caught in that outside grass on the outside curb at turn number 10, you get caught off completely off guard, and Acid neatly did manage that, but he ended up just coming off the curb very slightly, ended up getting the car controlled in. Now coming down the hill, he's a 10th and a half up nearly in the middle sector, now coming to the final sector split on the run to the line with Acid, and he goes P3, 106.909, again, puts himself in the ballpark of Dylan in 2nd.
Yeah, as Angelo, 10th up on the middle sector split for Angelo here, and not
now.
Chow.
Definitely not now. That was a bad mistake there from Angelo. If I'm him, I'd be bailing into the pit lane right now, and that's exactly what he has done. Angelo into the pit lane. Don't be surprised if he can improve on his lap time. But that was a big mistake coming out of turn number 12. Again, drivers in qualifying around here in Q2 and Q3 especially last night in WR Legacy Division. Angelo proving that this track is very tricky, even for the best of drivers. Brazil can throw and pack a punch, and has packed a punch with Angelo's lap time and him losing it through turn 12.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if he just didn't want to lock up his tyre, so Light ran just a little bit deep and tried to get on the throttle as early as possible to maximise the lap time, but on that outside curve in, it's very tricky to get the power down.
Very tricky to get the power down, indeed. I think we've all proven that. Yeah, Ivan Tonchik there actually in the chat. An old flame from the past there. EML Console 2 commentator, of course, alongside, I think, both of us, actually, in the past, and TML as well. Him there in the chat. Good to see the man, the myth, the legend that is in there. Saying you put the power down too early, it looks like. It's good to have another Ted Kravitz there in the chat.
Yep, over to you, Ted.
Over to you, Marvin. To be fair, it has a better ring to it, to be honest. But Ryan there out on top, Dylan there in second, Acid there currently in third position. Giles there in the chat saying, Ryan, you're meant to be cooking a pool lap time. At the minute, somebody that isn't cooking a pool lap time and ending up more like Kimi Räikkönen in 2012 around here is Alberto, who has completely gone off the grass. He's a little bit lost in the Red Bull, now coming up the hill and towards turn 13. He made a mistake in all seriousness there. Coming through 13, got the power down much too early, like Angelo did actually on his previous run. Alberto there in 7th, going for the Kimi Räikkönen look, I think, there in the Red Bull.
Yeah, and Ryan now getting his next lap underway, and of course a lot of pressure on Ryan, not only from yourself, James, but from the chat as well. Pressure on Ryan here as he's marching up in Sector 1.
If one of the guys on Xbox, by the way, can invite James, who's just left the session, that'll be very much grateful. Shadow and Dylan, I believe. Sorry, Shadow is the only one that can invite him in, so it is Shadow's responsibility to get him back in the session now. With 6 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock to go, Ryan on top by a good 1/10 of a second at the minute over Dylan in second, Acid there in third. Beginning to Constantine up though, it's a 10.5 covering the top 4. LTS there in fourth for the Mercedes team, which I will have a look at my notes in a second. But Ryan is up in the middle sector, 50.7. Is this a 106.6 coming in here for Ryan? Let's build it up. Let's build it up completely to make sure this is a 106.6. Now on the run to the line with Ryan. Is this a 106.6 that I so richly deserve? A 7,000th off! Ryan, for goodness sake, you're going to give me a heart attack. It's 106.707. And at least one half of the commentary box has been slightly biased towards a certain German.
Yeah, I have no bias whatsoever. No one can bribe me to be biased or anything. It's okay.
Angelo looking to try and improve. Go on.
I was going to say, that was a hint for people to actually bribe me to be biased.
And Angelo, not looking to be bribed in terms of this lap time, does improve in the end. 106.933. Only 1,000th off the back of the LT Ass there in fourth position. Acid, even in the first sector. Complete even split there from Acid. In that first sector split, with 5 minutes and 20 seconds to go on the clock, it is Ryan from Dylan, from Acid, the top 3. LTS there in 4th, with Angelo in 5th, Grandada there in 6th, Alberto 7th. James, who hasn't joined the session back yet, they're down in 8th, and then Myth Shadow rounding off the top 9 positions as Acid for GT10. Really, I think, need to bank a big lap time on the board here. Acid has got the, was right here. Last night, actually, hosting the session in WR Legacy Division, was out in Q1. So if that's anything to go by, he's got less pressure here than what albeit it was last night in for GT10 and WR. But now, he's looking to try and improve on the board. He was purple in the middle sector, taking a very thin line, all the run toward the line. Through the speed of lost boxes on the run to the line, does improve. Goes close, 106.828, but at least he's ahead of Dylan.
Yeah, it looks like Dylan may have made a mistake on his previous lap. He's backed off completely, got his ERS battery back up to near enough 100, but he is running very low on fuel, so I'm not even sure if he's going to be able to do another flying lap here.
Bail into the pit lane, put on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, go for the rubber in, and then possibly have a little bit of time toward the end of the session, I think.
Yep, that's exactly what he's going to do.
I'm glad you said that, to be honest, because I thought he wasn't coming in the pit lane there. Alberto now coming through the left-hander of turn number 10 and 11, in towards turn number 12, 51.2 in the middle sector. Alberto looking to try and, as I say, secure a place potentially for Deluxe Esports there in Console 2 moving forward. They were a part of that, of course, in Season 7 last season, and the Spaniard has Duke B coming in the pit lane. So Alberto is back into the pits. Myth's Shadow is about to start up, it seems, on a run. But it's a strange approach from Myth Shadow. If he's going to go on another run, he's got to think about it doing it very quick. He's just invalidated, so he might not get another run, at least for now. But Myth Shadow was going onto that lap with 60% of ERS. And the only man that I think I can describe Myth Shadow as, and Jav will probably know who I'm on about, he's there in the chat, Sir Ibo, back from League of Europe. He's another man that I can reference on this stream that can use 60% up, even before he starts up on his lap time. Myth Shadow, pretty much like that. Is he... it's weird because he's on a 108.1, he's at 2 laps on that run. Is he getting practice in, potentially, and he's just trying to get into his groove in the session? Or is he just thinking, I want to try and do the best for the team, I can't really do my best, so I'm just going to try and wing it anyways?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, it's going to be close to see if he's got enough time to get back in and back out for one more run. Maybe lack of practice, as you said, so he's not really been pushing as much as he probably should be until this final run here, but we're going to have to wait and see.
We will have to go and wait and see indeed. Jav put me out there for a violation on Ibo, I think, there on the stream. LTS is coming through the left-hander at turn number 11. I don't think he's on a run, or is he? No, he's not. He's 51.6 in the middle sector. So it means, back to my favourite German, it seems, once again. Ryan desperately wants the airtime, desperately wants a 106.6 to come in. He's got all the time in the world now to set his lap time, and he's now got all the pressure from us once again, coming now through the final couple of corners on the run towards turn 1.
Yeah, and only that, Jav in the chat saying he got the roster if he doesn't get a 0.6. So, I mean, even more pressure.
The pressure is on. The pressure is on. If not, there's going to be a meet-up in Hamburg or Berlin or wherever he lives, and there's going to be beer thrown over his canister, quite literally. Right now, coming through the left-hand with turn number 3, running now down the hill in towards turn number 4. We'll see what Ryan's first sector split is. He's up! He's up in the first sector, 17.2, very neat coming out of turn number 4, now running up the left-hand with turn number 5. As I say, I'm being pretty biased here towards the NLR, man. But it's like my comments back in Mexico. Does he really have a life by him going this quick? Now coming from the right hand of turn number 8, in towards turn number 9. Boo! Boo! He's backed off. I don't think I've ever booed anybody.
Well, Acid is on a lap in behind. He's up in the first sector. So Acid out there improving right now in sector 1, but let's see if we can carry that momentum through sector 2 here.
Dylan in the chat saying, why do we have 2 Mercs? It's because there are 2 Mercedes teams within the session. We've got NLR with Ryan, and we've got LR for LTS, and that is confirmed on the graphic. So, just to avoid any confusion, drivers can run multiple teams. We will see a couple of them actually in the next session as well. Acid is up though in the middle sector once again, looking really, really good. Now coming up the hill in towards turn number 13, looking to try and put the German under pressure. Acid has got to try and have to utilise all of that speed now on the run to the line. He does improve, but he's getting closer and closer to Ryan. Ryan is down in the first sector, and actually, no, he's still going on a run. I thought he actually backed off, but Ryan coming up the hill and towards turn number 6 there. We'll see on board with Dylan, who's going to be one of the next to come across the line. ATX James didn't join the session, so his 108.1 will stand at the minute. Dylan now coming up the hill. Angelo retires. It's going to retire, coming into the pit lane. Dylan now coming to the final corner for XR8. Needs to get a really big lap time on the board. Does, but he is 300th down on his previous best. Back to Ryan. He's up in the middle sector. 50.707 in that middle sector. He's the next one up on towards the line. Ryan, this is your pressure cooker situation, my friend. Now coming down in toward the left under turn 15. He's out of the squad if he doesn't get a 106.6. He's luckily kept his place. 106.676. That is the pole time here in Brazil so far. Alberto down a lap time. Grandada looking good. Goes ahead of Alberto into 6th. That is the end of qualifying here for session 3. Ryan out on top. Acid in 2nd. LTS there in 3rd. The top 2 exactly who I expected to be in the first 2 positions.
Yeah, it didn't look like that Myth Shadow was able to get a natural lap on the board. So unfortunately, James dropping out of the session, and Myth, unfortunately, not being able to get a lap in, really put both of their teams now under the caution in terms of the final results.
Definitely so, and look at the gap as well. They're a second behind Alberto, who's 7th. That's it's not diabolical, is what I was going to use, but it's not ideal. Let's just put it that way. Ryan out on top, from Acid there in second, LTS there in third, with Dylan there in fourth, Angelo in fifth, Grandada sixth, Alberto in seventh, 4/10 to say covering the top seven, then it's James, and then it's Smith Shadow 8th and 9th position. We are going to go for our final intermission break. We're going to be back with you on the other side. Oh, pardon me. Welcome back, everyone, to EML. That's the worst time comeback ever. Welcome back, Bill, to EML. We are here for qualifying night. It is session 4 now of the night, and by all accounts, I think it's our strongest session of the night. Mike has been absolutely licking his lips, I'm sure, to get us into this one. Red Bull have got EVE's representative of Lafiti in, very good driver. FLC Noban in for the Mercedes team, and then for McLaren in VMV, it is Indian. For Williams, for Esports Pack is Alex Linares, formerly of ET8, albeit, so going to be an interesting one to see how he gets on here. QSL Chowski there is in for QSL. TF10 Kevins, who's a very strong driver for EAVR as well, was proven last season in Console 2. Phantom, who has had a very, very good recent time of things here in Brazil, did very well last night in WR Lakesy Division, and I believe he was in the top 3, if I'm not mistaken. And I might even be more mistaken that I think he took pole position last night, if I'm not mistaken, as well for FRT. And Finley in there for CPI, as well as AMS Knight, who was thrown in from Session 3 as well. So 9 drivers, plenty of talent on the grid. I'm immediately going to put myself out there and say Lafiti is topping the session.
I am not going to put myself out there. Not yet. I'm going to save all commentator curses from me now for round 1 onwards.
From round 1 onwards, which is luckily in 2 weeks' time, and we will run you through the calendar and all that is glorious about Esports Masters League in a couple, well, after this session has ended. The first man out on track is the first man actually in the lobby. It is Finley now coming out of the pit lane for CPI. Very strong driver at the end of the day here for the CPI man. As soon as I've said that, he's just invalidated that at turn number 4. At least it's not on his full lap.
Finley, of course, just testing the limits now, just making sure they're all good. And he's out there analysing the track right now. That's what Finley's doing.
That is what Finley is doing. I think it is a smart idea, but he's also a very decent driver in qualifying. He's more actually attributed, I think, to the race rather than qualifying. But he was part of. Was he part of the CPI 1-2 at Bahrain last season? I think he was. Was he?
I believe he might have been, yeah.
I remember that just off the top of my head, but I believe Finley was part of that CPI 1-2 that he had in that they had in Bahrain last season. It was a very good 1-2 that they had. As well as we ride on board with him now, coming to the left-hander turn number 1. Already, I'd be saying bin off that lap time because he made a mistake coming through turn number 1. Now to the left-hander 3, running now down into what to see the logo at turn number 4. We'll see what Finley's first sector is like. 17-2. As I say, very, very good representative first sector there. If it's anything like Ryan's first lap, we should see a 106.8, 106.9, roundabout in that ballpark from Finley here.
Yeah, potentially, as locks up the front right, coming through the heart of the middle sector now, sweeping. He's sweeping corners, but it can be all about traction on the exit and. Whether or not you get a good middle sector, it depends on the traction you get as we come to the middle sector split now at 50.8 for Finley. So not bad for him so far.
Not bad for him at all so far indeed. Pretty much a matching on par with what Ryan was setting in the previous session there as well in Brazil as we now come to the final corner to beat those boxers on the run toward the line. 106.9, I was completely right. Being in that ballpark with that 17-2 in the first sector. Definitely in that ballpark, Finley on top. Alex Linares there goes second, the ex-ET8 man. But Lafiti comes in with a 106.769. Phantom follows that up with a 106.782. FRT and EVE are here to play. EVE, as Maze mentioned there in the chat, absolutely need this at this moment in time. Lafiti's their strongest driver. Could it be a little bit too late? Indian goes to the line there in 6th position as well. Chowski now on the run to the line goes 7th. Noban, not really the representative lap time compared to everyone else, 107.9. Beating with Knight now on the run to the line, setting his lap time. He goes 7th ahead of Chowski, the other Alpine. Lafiti out on top. Phantom in 2nd. Finley in 3rd. Pretty much near enough a carbon copy of what happened last night in WR Legacy Division qualifying.
I mean, Ryan would have been very happy with his 6.6, but now probably looking at the opening laps from Lafiti and Phantom here, he may be looking at the 3rd best time of the session. You know, who knows?
He might be indeed, yeah. Finley third, Alexander Messon fourth. There's a 10.5 gap between second and third right now, so it is a little bit of a chasm to try and bridge. But if anybody can do that, it's Finley, it's Alexander Messon, it's Kevin's there as well for EBR. Pretty much the top guys that I would expect to be up there are up there in the session, which is a really good insight, I think, to how drivers and how individuals might do around certain tracks. That's what we've seen certainly tonight in Austria and indeed in Brazil. And with a 12-round calendar, the biggest calendar ever in Esports Masters League history. You are welcome, by the way, because I was the one that put the calendar together, and I'm now going to be the one that gets all the abuse, I'm sure, for making that said calendar a little bit later on. But in terms of Austria-Brazil, I don't think we see them in the calendar. I'm just going to have to remind myself on this. No, we don't. We don't see Austria or Brazil at all in the calendar, the 12-round calendar that we've got up until the 16th of April, which is the final race of the season. But, as I say, individuals are good around certain tracks. CPI were good around Bahrain last season. That's where we start off our season, Mike. And currently, Finley, third position, looking safe-ish, I would say, right now, CPI, but they need a little bit more.
Yeah, they're going to need a little bit more to try and secure them a place, potentially, in Console 1, and it's going to be interesting to see the pecking order at the end of this. We've got so many drivers that are very close on pace, and it's just going to be... It's going to be interesting to see who comes out the top. And I was going to think of like a nice little metaphor, but I can't think of one. I'm just excited for the qualifying.
I'm very excited for the qualifying as well, and it's going to be, as I say, very, very close indeed in terms of how things are going in terms of this qualifying session. In the end, James couldn't get a run in because I think his power went out, which is really unfortunate. Nothing to do with leaving the session. It was just his power went out in real life. Sometimes those things happen. I know my light's been flickering here in the north of England, and I'm sure Mike's house is probably down in Wales as well with all this cold weather kicking in. And, yeah, things happen like that, and unfortunately for him, instead of 107.1, 109.1 I think it was, and in the end, not good enough XPG to get through, as Kevin's has made an absolute botch job of turn number 1, completely wide through turn number 1, taking what I can only describe as Kazuki Nakajima's line in 2008 around here when he crashed.
Yeah, and it looks like Finley's actually hooked up turn number 1 this time, so let's see if he's found any time through sector 1. And he's marginally up, but definitely
nope.
It looked better, but he didn't account for turn 4.
He didn't account for turn 4. He ran too far, I think, deep into the apex, and it's a real common thing you can do. You run too far deep into the apex, you get forced out wide, it's an off-camber corner, and you can run out wide. Finley has just proven that absolutely down to the T. Kevin's on a run as well. Indian is up in the first sector, 600's up, I think that is, in the first sector from the VMV man. VMV looking to try and sneak a place potentially in Con 1. They did very well with Inwar, of course, around here a little bit earlier on in Austria. Indian now being that man here for VMV, another man that we saw featured part of VMV's team in the Esports Challenge Cup that we had before Christmas, and he's up again in the middle sector. He's purple out of everyone, not for long though, because he just spent a howler. Coming out of turn number 12, he's going to lose all of that time now. Running down the hill in towards turn 15. It will be an improvement, I think, but it's not the improvement that he would want. Indian on the run to the line, 107 flat. He lost a good 0.2 of a second there. That should have been a 106. 106.8 even. Lafiti bangs in a 106.5. Are you kidding me? The German goes quickest. Phantom looking to try and back that up as well for FRT. He runs the line. 106.6. Lap times are coming down. Ryan's lap time beaten already. Lafiti now out on top. Phantom second. 3/10 clear. Finley there in third as Alex Lindemes is about to set up on his run.
Yeah, and I just, I just heard through the grapevine that Java's going to be holding an emergency meeting with Ryan and I for this. At the moment, it's not looking good.
It's not looking good, but to be honest, I think NLR are going to be surely a part of the top 3 teams, I think, here tonight within qualifying night in general. They've been very good with both of their drivers, Janel and, of course, Ryan. Very, very good pairing, of course, in EML last season. They were here, I think, 3 times, if I'm not mistaken, as a pairing in EML last season as part of the NLR team. and they'll be looking to try and back that up once again. Alex Linarest, though, was looking to try and back this lap time up, 106.9. He was slightly down, I think, in the first sector, but he's now coming through turn 9, in towards Bicarapato at turn number 10. This has looked a really decent lap so far by Alex Linarest. He's there in 4th. Esports Peck, this is why I put them in as a potential Con 1 qualifier. He's 1,000th down in the middle sector, 51 flat. Alex Linarest is a very talented driver, though, at the end of the day. I think Finley has just gone 3rd, by the way, with a 106.7, so he did improve on his run. Alex Linarest, though, bailed into the pit lane. I was nailed down to the mast that Esports Peck I thought would qualify. They might not even get towards the top end of Con 2 here.
I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, it is all resting on Alex Linarest now, and you know, there's definitely potential here for Alex to improve on his lap time, and I'm sure he will by the end of the session. As I believe everyone coming into the pits, other than Kevin's, who's on his outlap.
Yep, Kevin's indeed on his outlap, indeed. Jaku there in the chat, former TML racer, of course, back in the past here. Him saying, world practice, work to treat. Yes, WRLXC Division were around here last night, so it is pretty easy to see why we chose Brazil as a track. You're welcome, guys. I knew you guys were doing Lexi Division the day before, so I thought, you may as well put Brazil in. Lafisi out on top, Phantom 2nd. Finley there currently in 3rd, 400th of a second covering the top 2. Kevin's, though, again, another talented driver on his day. I'd be honest and say Kevin's limit is going to be around about a 106.7, 106.8. He made a howl of a mistake coming through turn 12 at John Salmon's previous run. This is now him, down in towards turn number 1 once again. Let's ride on board with the EBR, man. Let's see if he can iron out all of those mistakes, and let's see what he can prove, because I think he's a talented driver, and I hope he'll prove that on this lap.
Yeah, he is a talented driver, that is for sure. As Kevin's not coming with the first sector split, is he going to be up on his time?
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Now, through turn number 4, Tia Delago does not run too far wide, does not do a Finley, and now he comes up the hill towards Ferrajura.
Looks like Alex Linarest is just ahead of him out on track as well. Needs to get out of the way. Ghosting, of course, is off, but there is limits for impeding. In fact, it's one of the Alpines getting out of the way. Realises that. I think it might be Chowski on a lap time. He gets out of the way very neatly indeed. Kevin's now in towards turn number 10 at Bicarapato. Nearly got caught in the grass there. You saw how close he was with that left-hand side wheel to the grass. Indeed, he didn't end up on the grass, and it's a 50.7. It's a 2/10 improvement in the middle sector. He's gone way too deep, though. In towards Junsao at turn number 12, missing that didn't miss the apex. He overrode that apex completely, and he's going to lose all the time now once again. Down the straight, down the hill, and towards turn 15, and on the run to the line, Kevin's does improve. He didn't lose as much time as what I would have thought there. 10.5 improvement, 106.9, solid lap time. But I still think he's got a bigger lap time in that than what he's leaned onto. It should be 106.7 pace, I think, even with that mistake.
Yeah, I think he does have a decent amount still out there on the table. The question is whether or not he's going to be able to pull it all together. Alex Linarest on a lap now in the first sector, and he's down on his first sector split.
Purple in the middle sector for Lafiti, but he is down on his lap time. He's 400th up, now on the run through the final couple of corners. I think Indian is now on the run to the line, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Finley coming through the first sector, Indian on the run to the line, just starting up on a run. Lafiti, the German, on the run to the line, 3,000th down this improvement. Here comes Phantom, though. Casper the Ghost, as I called him last night, now coming through the left-hander at 10.15. This could be a 106.4. I'm not even kidding. Phantom on the run to the line for FRT. Is it a 106.4? Yes, it is. Big lap time from Phantom. That's why he took pole position last night in WRLXC Division. He proves that, and he's just knocked Lafiti out of the water. Lafiti knocked back for 6. The rest of the field knocked for 6s and a dozen. Phantom out on top. Lafiti second. Nobody is getting close to that.
Finley in the middle sector, 10th up on his time, but he loses the back end for Jian Chao. Was too eager on the throttle again for Finley.
Definitely, and Finley, unfortunately, has that mistake, but luckily for him, he can go again. I think it's more beneficial time-wise as well, because he can try and get another 2 runs in towards the end of this session. Fails into the pit lane, and that will be him done, at least for this part of the session. Indian now on the run to the line for VMV, looking to try and improve very minimally. I've got to be honest, finds a big final sector, though. 106.9 in average, and he goes there 6th position. AMS Knight, who, of course, didn't join session 3, getting the job done there in here in session 4 for AMS. Needs a big lap time on the board. 107.1 isn't on a lap time at the minute. He is going to go for another run, trying the Mubarak tactic, as I said a little bit earlier on. The Phantom out on top, Lafiti second, Finley third. 4 minutes to go in the session. Exactly who I expected to be, once again, are up there, once again in qualifying, which is either me being Mystic James, or it's just purely the gap between some of the teams that we've got here.
Well, I mean, we do have a nice little blend here of teams you'd expect to see in Console 2 and Console 1. So maybe there's a bit of that in terms of the split between some of the teams, but it's still very close, James. Still very close, in that, especially in that mid-pack at the moment where Kevin's, Alex Linares, and Indian right now.
Parsec asking in the chat as well, what is the top 8 at the moment? The top 8 is Phantom, Lafiti, Finley, Kevin, Alex Linares, Indian, Knight, and Noban. I know he doesn't mean that, but it's the only top 8 that I've got access to at the minute for Q1. But if I actually don't know what the top 8 is. I'm sure Mike is frantically trying to work that out. Indian's just gone for a near nice spin, by the way, coming in the pit lane. But we'll work that out. I know NLR will be up there. EVE are sneaking themselves into contention. FRT should be up there, I think, even with Simbarox's time. Esports Pack will be further down the field. BMB will be slightly average. They'll probably be toward the bottom end of Con 2. The Con 1 even. FRC, AMS will probably be Con 2. Yeah, there's a real good average. And we saw with EVE earlier on, with Trisky, I think he was, set a decent lap time on the board, but Lafiti there, with a 106.5, outgunning the time that was set in Austria, and it's giving them tenths of a second to get into Con 1 and to be safe. And I think Lafiti is managing to do that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not going to do all the math and everything for the whole thing combined, but I can say it's Phantom top, Lafiti second, Ryan third. Then Acid in fourth, ahead of Finley in fifth. Then of course it's Itas in next, and it's Dylan. Then we have Kevin's, Alex Linares, and then it is Angelo for OVR, and then Indian. So that's just the time stamp below 1 minute 7.
I hope you've noted that down, guys, there in the chat, because that was even difficult for me to follow, I'll be honest. We haven't got access to the spreadsheet or anything, so we can't keep an eye on the timings at this moment in time. I'm sure if we play for a little bit of time at the end of the stream, we will get all of the times sorted out. Chowsky, by the way, is on a run. He was up in the first sector, quite neatly actually in the first sector, now coming to the right-hander of turn number 10 at Beacon of Battle, now through Magulio and John Sow at turns 11 and in towards turn number 12. 51.4, QSL, obviously with Gabs earlier on, land themselves maybe within a good chance of a top Con 2, as he now comes up the hill in towards Vida Dos Boxes turn 13 and 14. Chowsky looking to try and get QSL at least a big improvement in this final sector. Doesn't manage it in the end. He does improve ahead of Noban. Noban just starting up on a run right now. Alex Linares is up in the first sector, and I think he is the furthest on a lap time. So Alex Linares, 1100 up in the first sector, now coming through turn 6 at Ferragiro.
Yeah, Alex Linares, the marginally up in sector 1 as he comes to the heart now in the middle sector. I've just gone on to see what Kevin's first sector time is, and he's down in sector 1. He's actually invalidated Kevin's, so not good for him.
Yeah, not good for him at all. What will be good for Alex Linares if he can find a purple middle sector. He doesn't in the end, but he's 400 up in the middle sector split. We will see. Alex Linares now running up the hill in toward the left-hander now of 10-14. Through the left-hander of 15. Lafiti and Phantom just on up on their runs as well. They're in the middle sector somewhere. Alex Linares on the run to the line. XET8 man does improve ahead of Kevin's. Kevin's is invalidated, so not good news from him. Finley 300's down, Lafiti down, Phantom invalid. So Phantom invalidated, gives Lafiti a chance, gives Finley a chance to try and close up. Finley's a 10th and a half up in the middle sector and is looking to try and find the time at least on Lafiti to try and find another 10th, about a 10th of a second from somewhere on the Red Bull. The Red Bull is actually behind him on the road right now, running down the hill through turn 15 on the run to the line. Finley does improve. Lafiti in the end does improve as well, very minimally, but it's a 1200th improvement. Nightmare improves to 107 flat. Good improvement from him. Indian is down on the run. Kevin just retired from the session. That is the end of qualifying night here, and it's Phantom for FRT out on top. Lafiti there in second. Finley there in third here in session number 4. I've been informed as well, unfortunately, guys, you're going to be kept waiting for the results because if there's no steward reports or anything that come out, they will be posted tomorrow. So it means, for me at least, I can go and watch the traitors at 9 o'clock.
Well, there we go. A positive right there. So confirm we have confirmation tomorrow.
We will indeed. Phantom out on top, Lafiti there in second, Finley there in third, a 10th and a half covering the top 3 is not bad at all. Alex Sinneres in fourth, Kevin's there in fifth with Indian in sixth, Knight in seventh, and then Chazky and Nobin there 8th and 9th position. You'd imagine QSL and FLC will definitely be in Con 2, probably the same with AMS, maybe VMB as well, maybe EVR as well, but certainly FRT, EVE, CPI are definitely, I think, either within contention of Con 1 or definitely secure themselves in Con 1 with that performance in Brazil and their performances in Austria respectively.
Yeah, and of course, if you want to try and figure it out for yourselves, make sure you go back through the stream and everything and, do the maths yourselves. And while you're there, drop a like on the stream as well.
Yeah, I'll do the maths in the next 7 minutes before I end the stream because if you're as quick as what we can be here in the admin team, I'd be very surprised. But Bahrain, looking at the calendar, Bahrain round 1 of the championship. We have a week's break because just to get everything organised, to get everyone in their tiers, the roles and everything sorted out, get the car choices, everything banging out as well. Bahrain though, round 1 of the championship, we technically go by what I've described as the real life Formula 1 calendar, sort of following and mirroring that same aspect. Bahrain, round 1 of the championship. It was an absolute thriller last season, if I'm not mistaken, in Console 1. We had the privilege of commentating it through, and in 2 weeks' time, CPI will be hoping once again for a 1-2 like they did last season. Are they going to get that, though? Possibly with the likes of Shazoo and ETA added into the mix, maybe not.
Yeah, and that's going to be the thing is how ETA and Shazoo are gonna come in. Are they gonna come in the same way as it's been for the past 2 seasons as the dominant force in Console 1, or will we see the likes of NLR, for example, challenge them, push them all the way? Will we see CPI up there potentially battling? Time will tell, but of course we're gonna have to wait to see where they all place first and foremost.
Time will tell. Indeed, it's going to be very intriguing. I've got to say, for the 12 rounds that we're going to have out on track. A Phantom there in the Discord saying W comms as always. Hasn't even tagged you there, Mike. So I'd like to say thank you to Phantom. That was a very good lap time that he set there, 106.4. Of course, top in session there in Brazil. Looking through the calendar though, we've got a real mix, and I've described it to myself as an all-rounders calendar. It's a bit of everything. We've got Monaco thrown in. We've got Las Vegas thrown in. We've got the likes of Singapore thrown back in from last season. Britain, which was a really good race, overshadowed by a bit of controversy from the ET8 standpoint. But in turn, I think it's a really good all-rounders calendar. Bahrain ran 1 of the championship, then there's Australia, China, Britain, Monaco, Hungary. That's before we have a week's break at the start of March. Then we're back on the 12th of March, all being well, in Canada. Then it's Las Vegas, Singapore, Mexico, United States, and then Abu Dhabi. Yes, we have gone for a little bit of a North American feel towards the end of the season, along with a bit of Asia in there as well. But I think looking at the calendar, it's a bit of an all-rounders calendar. Monaco's thrown in there as well. Monaco can be a track where championships can be decided, and round 5 of the championship, it means it could be decided very early.
Yeah, of course, Monaco. I mean, everyone knows the challenges of Monaco with the walls around there and how difficult it is to get overtakes done. You really have to be on it from the beginning when qualifying starts all the way to the checker flag at the end of lap 38 in the race. So it's it's definitely going to be interesting. That's going to be the track, I think, where we could see more mistakes with some drivers, potentially just outbreaking themselves slightly, and obviously losing front wing, falling well down the order.
Yeah.
But we could also see some incredible display of driving capabilities from some drivers as well.
Yeah, and there's a couple of tracks as well, which we haven't actually seen in EML, I think, since the inaugural season. Monaco, I think, being one of them. Season 1 was, I think, the only time that we have had Monaco in the calendar. Bringing that back, it's a bit of an old feel to really see off the game as well, because I'm under the impression that by April the 16th, we'll have more information about F125 coming out. There'll be a lot more information out there about what platforms it's going to be on and things like that. So that's why we've got a 12-round calendar, just to try and see it off the end of the season, and then it gives us a little bit of an opportunity to try and run something else come April the 23rd, April the 30th after Easter, and it is a week before Easter that we finish this season as well. So I have tried to fit everything in, which is always good. Having a look at the point system as well, just to try and throw it out there. It's a brand new point system for this season. You might have seen it run in the Esports Challenge Cup that we had previously, but if you didn't, we've got 22 points awarded for P1, and then it's second place 18, third place gets 15, fourth place gets 12, and then it's 1 point increments all the way down to 15th. Pole position points are there, along with fastest lap points as well. Not necessarily more opportunities for points, Mike, but more opportunities, I think, for the drivers to actually finish races all the way down to 15th, remove that cap from 19th all the way up to 15th. It gives more drivers more competitive racing to fight for positions.
Yeah, and only that, the points are a lot closer because obviously in seasons gone by, it's been 30 points for a race win, and that's no longer the case. So it gives teams the opportunity of maybe coming back into a championship fighting position. Because of course we've seen before last season as an example, where ET8 were able to wrap it up just before the season finale, and honestly, with the points being a lot closer now, it means that the other teams will be able to stay in the hunt for that bit longer and maybe put in more of a challenge going into the final rounds.
Yeah, definitely so, and obviously makes things a lot closer. I think it was a near 90-point gap. I think we had something like that between ETA and Team Jazoo in P1 and 2, and then a bit of a jump down to P3 and 4. So we want to try and avoid that. New point system now in play, and it's going to be a very, very, hopefully well received, and hopefully a well received calendar as well. And that is what you've got to look forward to, with courtesy and with thanks, of course, to our new sponsors that we've got for season number 8, the Ronin Printworks 3D Printing Solutions. Bit of a mouthful to say, but they're going to be sponsoring us, of course, for season number 8. Good to have a sponsorship on board because we didn't have any sponsorship last season in season 7. Previously had the likes of Next Level Racing providing us sponsorship in the past as well. Ronin Printworks 3D, very, very good to have. They've got their Twitter account as well, which I'm sure is in the description of this video. If not, go and find them on social media. They're certainly on X. I think they're certainly on Facebook, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So go and check them out. 3D printing solutions be perfect because I could create a 3D printed Formula One car from them.
Yeah, absolutely, and make sure you guys go and check them out.
Definitely so, and we are gonna end off the stream right here, right now, because A, the traitors is coming on, and B, we're right at the end of the stream, which is always good. We are now going to bid you farewell, but a reminder again of that calendar that we've got. Bahrain, 22nd of January, 7 p.m. for Con 2, 8 p.m. for Con 1. We'll have everything sorted out before then as well in terms of commentary, things like that. Thank you so much for watching EML Qualifying Night. Myself and Mike will see you for Con 1 comms in 2 weeks' time in Bahrain. But until then, please stay safe, please stay well. Thank you so much for watching. And until 2 weeks' time in Bahrain for Season 8 of Esports Masters League, goodbye.